this is Dave Osborne from KidsGuitarAcademy.com, and welcome to our free guitar tutorial on how to play the Attack on Titan Opening 1 theme. Now this tutorial has three main sections. In the first section, I'm going to show you a scale pattern that's used over and over again in this song. If you get this scale pattern down, you're going to get the song down 10 times quicker than if you don't. Now I know some of you are going to be tempted to skip that part of the tutorial, but I highly recommend learning the scale.
Just learn the scale, you lazy brat!
Okay, Grandpa, thank you. Thank you. Sorry guys, my grandpa's just... Anyway, so in the second section of this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through how to play this song step by step, and I've got some free sheet music, professional tabs that you can download by clicking the link below. And then finally, after we've learned and mastered the song, we'll head over to the last section where you'll get a chance to play along with the song using the backing track. So make sure that guitar's in tune, and let's get started. Alright, so this entire song is made up of 4 different sections, and each section has 2 or 3 phrases at most in it. Now the notes of these phrases come directly from this major scale fingering written below. The scale fingering is just moved up and down the neck depending on what section or phrase you're working with. Now if you're not used to reading scale diagrams, they work a lot like tabs do, with the top line representing the high or thin string. The dots are the notes you're going to play, and the numbers that are on the dots represent the fingers of the fretting hand that you're going to use to play. So you're going to start from the lowest note, which is here on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, and play 1 note at a time to the highest note. So we start on this note, we play 2 notes higher on that same string using the 3rd finger. Then we cross over to the 2nd string, and we're going to play the 3 notes that are on that string. 5th fret, 6th fret, 8th fret. Now we cross over to the 1st string and use the same exact fingering to play 5th, 6th, 8th. So that looks like this. Now once you get to the highest note, you should practice playing it in reverse order from highest to lowest. So that would be like this. Cross over to the 2nd string, and then the 3rd. So you want to memorize this pattern since all of the notes from these phrases come in some way from that pattern. Okay, so let's look at phrase number 1 from the intro section of this song. You're going to begin by playing the 1st string 5th fret. After you play that note, you're going to cross over to the 2nd string 6th fret with the 2nd finger. Now you're going to stay on the 2nd string as you reach up to the 8th fret with the pinky, back to the 5th fret with the 1st finger, then 6th fret, before switching over to the 3rd string, 7th fret. Then back up to the 2nd string, 5th fret, and then 3rd string, 5th fret. So it'll look like this. Now you're going to do the same thing again, but you're just going to change up the last 3 notes of the phrase. So notice on the end of that, I ended with the 5th fret on the 2nd string to the 7th fret on the 3rd, and then back to the 5th fret. That looks like this. Now once you work through that, Try playing it along with me at a slower pace. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's move on to phrase number 2. Phrase number 2 is exactly the same as phrase number 1, except for you're playing it 3 frets higher, starting at the 8th fret. What's happening here is you're taking that scale you learned and you're playing it in the 8th position of the guitar neck. So it's a good idea to practice playing the scale in this higher position. Then play your phrase the same as you did in phrase number 1. The only difference is this very last note played on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, which isn't actually in the scale, but it sounds really cool. Work through the phrase and then practice playing along with me slow. 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's get into the second or verse section of the song. So in the verse section, we're actually playing the same phrase that we've been playing in the 5th and the 8th position, but we're going to be taking it down to the open position. Now, as you see, the scale shape looks different when played in the open position because we're actually using open strings to play some of the notes of the scale. So when you're looking at the scale diagram, any circle or any note that's placed before this nut is an open string. So once again, we want to start with the lowest note, which will be here on the 3rd string, played open. After we play that note, we're going to go to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Then we're going to switch over to the 2nd string and once again play an open note. Then to the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Then to the 3rd fret. Now we switch up to the 1st string, play it open, then to the 1st fret, and then to the 3rd. So that will look like this. 3rd string open, 2nd fret, 2nd string open, 1st, 3rd, 1st string open, 1st, 3rd. And once again, you want to take it backwards as well, from the highest to the lowest. Now, this scale played in this position is going to be used throughout the rest of the song, so you really want to get it down. So let's look at how to play this section. When you first look at the tablature, you'll notice that we have repeat marks at the end of bar 4. We also have brackets above bars 4 and bar 5. These are alternate endings, and I go into detail about these in lesson number 8 of the Ultimate Beginner Guitar course. But for now, let me explain how you're going to play through this section. So you're going to start with the first bar and play through to bar 4 3 times. So you'll start at bar 1, go to bar 4, do that 3 times. On the last or the 4th time through, you're going to go from bar 1 to 3 and skip to the last bar, bar 5. So let's look at the first phrase, phrase 3. Now phrase 3 is exactly like the phrases you've been playing, except we're going to be using open strings. So we start on the 1st string, play it open, cross over to the 2nd string, and then staying on that string we go to the 3rd fret, open, first fret, cross to the third string, second fret, second string open, and then third string open. Now for the second part of the phrase, we repeat the same thing, but we change the last couple of notes. Second string open, second fret on the third string, to third string open. Let's put this together by playing through it slowly. 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to repeat that 3 times total. On the 4th time, you're going to do the exact same thing, except you're going to change the very last note to this first fret on the 3rd string. Same exact phrase, different last note. That'll be phrase 4. Let me play it through slowly. 2, 3, 4. So the third, or pre-chorus section of the song has 2 phrases. Here's phrase number 5. So this phrase starts on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. You'll notice that these first 2 notes have ring out lines, just letting you know that you're going to hit this note and let it ring out. Then you're going to cross over to the 2nd string 1st fret, and then you're going to play 3 quick notes starting on the 2nd string open, to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, to the 1st fret of the 3rd string. So those 3 notes would sound like this. So here's what we have so far. Now for the next part of the phrase, we've got 4 3-note groupings. So the first grouping starts on the 4th string, 2nd fret. Then it moves up to the 3rd string, 1st fret, and then to the 2nd fret on the same string. Now we backtrack 1 note to the 1st fret on the 3rd string, go to the 2nd fret, and then 2nd string open. So that sounds like this. Now we backtrack 1 note to the 1st fret on the 3rd string and play from that note up 1 to the 2nd fret and then 2nd string open. Let's put those first 2 groupings together. Now for the 3rd grouping, we backtrack 1 note to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, go to the 2nd string open, and then to the 1st fret on the 2nd string. Now we backtrack 1 note to the 2nd string open, to the 1st fret, to the 2nd fret, all on the 2nd string. 3 in a row. So now let's stack all of these 3-note groupings together. Starting with the first grouping, 2nd grouping, 3rd grouping, 4th. Now once you've worked through this phrase, play it along with me slow. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now for the second phrase in this section, phrase number 6, we'll be starting on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Here's what the phrase sounds like. So that was 2 hits on this 3rd fret. Go to the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and back. Now I go to the 1st fret on the 2nd string, 2 hits on that note, and then immediately down to the 3rd string open. It's a little quicker there. Finally returning to the 1st fret. Let's put the first half of this phrase together. Now for the second half, we basically repeat the same thing, but our last 2 notes will be different. So that was 3rd fret on the 2nd string, hit it twice, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, back, hit the note again, let it ring out, and then to the 2nd fret. Those last 2 notes are going to ring out. So here's the second half of the phrase, starting with bar 3. All right, so once you've worked through this, play it along with me. Starting with the first bar, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so once you've got that down, try playing it along with me. Starting with the first bar, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once you've got that down, try playing it along with me. Starting with the first bar. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once you've got that down, try playing it along with me. Starting with the first bar. 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's look at the 4th and last section of this song, the chorus section. So this song has 3 phrases in it, and they're all very similar. Just like a lot of the other phrases in this song, you're going to be basically playing the same phrase over and over again, but changing the last few notes. So let's look at the main phrase, phrase number 7. Here's how it sounds. So to play this phrase, you're going to start on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Once you play that note, you're going to cross over to the 1st fret of the 1st string. Then hit the open string, going back to the 2nd string 1st fret, returning to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, and then once again, go to the 1st string 1st fret to open, and then back to the 1st fret on the 2nd string, sort of like a cycle. Here's how that would sound. We're basically going to do that again, starting with that 3rd fret, up to the 1st string, but this time we're going to go to the 3rd fret, and then end with this last grouping of 3 notes, starting on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, to the 2nd fret on the 3rd, and back. So that little last grouping was. So once again, you'll notice a pattern here as you repeat the same grouping 3 times. Then again, and again. So this is the main phrase in this section. Let's go ahead and play through it slowly once you have it down. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so phrase number 8 is going to be exactly the same. If you look at the end of the phrase, you'll notice that we travel up on the top string, moving up to the 5th fret, and then to the 3rd fret on the same string. So we repeat the same phrase that we just played, but we're going to move up to the 1st string, eventually landing on the 5th fret and then 3rd. So it'll sound like this. Notice that's where it changes. We go to the 1st fret on the 1st string, to the 3rd, and then you want to shift that 3rd finger up to the 5th fret, and then back to 3rd. Once you've worked through that, play it with me. 3, 4. Now we just repeat phrase 7. So the last phrase, phrase number 9, is almost identical to phrase number 7. You're just going to change up the last few notes as you go from the 3rd fret on the 2nd string to the 1st fret and back. And pretty quickly too. So here's phrase 9. Once again, starting on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Now right here, we add in that last grouping of notes. We'll play through it one time slow. 2, 3, 4. All right, well, great job working through the song. Once you're feeling comfortable with it, you're ready for the fun part, which is to practice playing along with the song using the backing track. Now, this song goes pretty fast, so you may have to slow it down at first. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can do that by clicking the setting icon in the control bar. It's somewhat near the full screen icon. Once you've clicked on it, select speed, and then 0.75, which will slow the video down without distorting the audio. All right, so once again, make sure that guitar's in tune, and let's give this a shot. If you enjoyed this lesson and would like to improve your guitar playing at a much faster rate, be sure to check out the Kids Guitar Academy Ultimate Beginner Guitar Course by clicking the link below. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss the next free lesson. In the meantime, enjoy your new song, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.